Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. Peace. I'm Dr. Peace. I'm glad you decided to join me today. In this interview, I am talking with my former student, Hannah, who has experience as a doula. She's a mom of 2 young children and came to my class even though she wasn't a social work major. We have a really informal conversation with lots of laughter and just talking about life. How does social work fit into just regular life, and what we need to do to make the world a better place? I hope you pull up a chair, grab your favorite drink, and give it a listen. Peace.
I was not a social work major. I didn't do it professionally, but honestly, the classes, what I learned, it is so relevant still. It kind of teaches you the human skills that you need to be an empathetic person professionally, personally, as you grow up. I'm still growing up. I don't know when I'll be when I grow up.
Here.
I like what I'm doing now, but I don't know what my dream job is. I think, it's probably some type of midwife or like working with people personally. Like, sit down, tell me everything. What do you like to do? What made you cry last week? Let's talk about it.
You're not doing any type of counseling, or you haven't gone into that at all?
No, I was a doula. I was like a birth worker doula in Chicago after graduation. So that was kind of a little bit more personal, like social work type of stuff. But then COVID hit, that all got goofed up. And so then I started working remotely. So
COVID just really did fuck us all. It did, not only as individuals, but as a society. I look around now and I think there's going to be a time in history that they'll say pre-COVID and post-COVID, because it's like a 9/11 thing. This way, you were talking about doing social work. I wanted to tell you that last night I was teaching a group of master's level students, and we were just talking like you do in social work classes. It's just the best place in the world to be. That's why I'm still doing it at 75, is because I just sat there. I about started crying because I was like, I am so privileged, so fortunate to sit in a Zoom room where I'm in my house. I can walk from one room to the other. If I was in a wheelchair, I'd wheel my ass in here. But I can talk to people who care. They fucking care about the world, about people who are less fortunate. I said to them, if I could fill the world with social work students, utopia.
It would be so
That's my
needed.
story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to go on that hill too, Dr. Pease, because seriously, it's so necessary. Just like to, and not to get like too deep too quickly here, but that's just kind of how I am.
That's why I love deep.
I remember, I learned a lot at U of I. The campus is full of like really brilliant minds. And I remember sitting in class, and I don't remember what the context was or what we were talking about, but you went into the story about how your daughter, you were at the hospital and you were trying to decide, should her son come say goodbye? And I remember you were like, that social worker at the hospital was not helpful. She said something about like, that was a really personal decision that she couldn't help you with. Then what are you there for? What are you there for? And I remember you got very emotional, and it was I will never forget how you explained how that went for your family. And like, all she had to do was, let's make a list. What are you thinking? Here's some pros and cons. Let's talk through it. That's all you have to do. In any scenario, anytime anybody's like, I'm having a hard time, you immediately look at them. Hey, let's talk about it. I see you right now. I'm here with you. I can hold your hand. I can put my hand on your knee. Like, what do you need? What does your body need? How can and like, you can just start what I've done, even as a doula, as a mom, as a postgraduate, like, let's start. What can we do right now? Do you want to go put your feet in the grass? Do you need to take 4 deep breaths? Like, should we count together? Just start naming stuff and then go from there. And see and try.
The whole world. What you're describing is, as a doula, as an administrator, as a CEO of a company, as a police officer, as a judge, an attorney. Come on, all the roles that we have, can we just communicate with one another and say, what can I do to be a help? As Mr. Rogers said, I've said this so many times, Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. And that's the truth. We should all be helpers, for God's sake. Just stop and help every situation you're in. I think of it even as simple as at the grocery store and the person in front of you is slow. My husband is the slowest checkout person because he wants to visit with the freaking checkout lady. And so that person ahead of you is slow and you're in a hurry. Can you just be helpful? Just be kind.
Just fully be present and be like, okay, that person's going a little bit slower. I am in a hurry. This is a little bit frustrating, but like, okay. Or get all your stuff organized so you can throw it into your bag and walk out fast.
So would you tell everyone go to at least one social work class? Would that be
100%? Get your ass in a social work class. Even like I know this is a social work podcast, but like sociology or psychology even. And I think I remember like when I was deciding what to take classes in and all that good stuff. I think I minored in social work because I loved it so much. But I think it was like social work. People went into social work to like try to help their families, like understand their families and like what's going on in their family. And psychology was more so like troubleshooting your own brain, like why you were the way you were. And I was like, okay, my family needs some help, so I'm gonna do that. And it helps.
That's a great explanation. And I always say we're all here to fix ourselves and those we love.
Yeah. And figure out your family and like I've done some deep diving into my family, and everybody needs to do some deep diving into their family.
Yes. I used to do counseling in a high school. I was called a student assistance counselor. And so it was supposed to be around substance use, but it ended up, I had an office. I might have told this in class, but I had an office in a ticket booth where people came in to get the tickets for basketball games.
Yeah.
Well, when a basketball game wasn't going on, that was my office. It was just a little ticket booth. I loved that office. I loved those kids. But kids would get referred to me if they were having problems for other reason, any type of reasons, but mostly substance use. But anyway, I used to tell them, I can go out and walk down the hall and just pick out 5 random people. And they all could use some cheering up, some talking to, some advice, not necessarily advice, but some feedback on how their life's going. Everybody, teachers, the janitorial staff, the kids, whatever. Because we all need people. Should I sing people who needs people, or is that over the top? You think that's too much? People.
I don't think it's too much. Nothing's ever too much.
I knew I would have fun with you. I knew when I saw your name this morning, I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun one.
It is. I can be fun.
You always, I just remember you in class. I connected with you at a hippie level. I don't know if you are, but to me, you were a hippie misplaced. You just were born in the wrong decade.
I think I might have been. And I was not a social work student, and I just like inserted myself into that building and sat there, and like every professor I had was a wonderful one. I'm in there doing whatever I need to be doing and hope it's done. And it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. But you're talking about that. And I think it's so important. Like, yes, there's going to be those professors that you got to be doing this. And like, that's kind of how it operates in this capitalistic society, that you have to be getting that stuff done. But it's so refreshing when you come in and Dr. Peace is like, hey, yeah, I go by Dr. Peace, and here's my phone number. You can text me anytime. Cause I was working, and I worked in the morning. I was getting there at like 5:30 in the morning, and I sometimes wasn't making it to class because I worked my way through school and all that. And you were just like, no problem. See you next time. And I was like, I'm not going to be. Yeah. How refreshing that somebody understands I'm a human being past my seat in class.
Yes. Although I could sit here and just absorb this positive feedback for a lifetime.
Let's get negative.
No, I'm thinking about, we started out talking about how to change the world, and something you said in your form that you filled out, your guest interview form, you said, I'm impacting my children.
Yeah,
This is International Women's Month, right? Or
it
National
is. It's
Women's Month
supposed to
on
be.
Facebook anyway. I
That's
think
where I
it's
get a lot of my
interesting.
information.
It's Social Work Month and it's National Women's Month. Yeah,
Mm.
that fits. But anyway, we gloss over the fact that parents, I'm not even going to just say moms, parents are so important. And yet, as soon as we can, we get our little babies in daycare because we have to go to work. And it's because of the, like you were talking about, the capitalistic society. So, what are you doing with your little girls that's going to grow
Mm.
them up to be wonderful humans? And how old
Oh,
are they?
they're 3 and 5.
Oh, wow.
So they're real. We are like in the princess nail polish unicorn
Oh,
phase, and it's really wonderful. But this is actually maybe a good example. My oldest turned 5 a couple weeks ago, but we had our party 2 weeks ago. And we have a neighbor who comes to our house. I think she's 6 or 7. Single mom, comes to our house, just like comes over and vibes with us and plays in the yard and all that stuff. And I learned that her dad is not around. Recently, her mom told me. So she shows up for the birthday party and is just like vibing around. And something came up, and my husband told me this story because he was sitting there. And so my daughter Florence was sitting there. She had 2 friends, the neighbor, and then like another friend from school. And they were talking about their parents, and her mom was not here, so she was just here at the party. And my daughter's friend from school was like, "Oh, where's your mom?" And she's like, "Oh, she's at the store," like whatever she was doing. And she's like, "Oh, where's your dad?" And she goes, "Oh, I don't have a dad." And my daughter's friend could like, "What do you mean? Like, I don't understand." And Florence, my daughter, was like, "Some people just don't have a dad." And that was enough for her friend to be like, "Oh, okay." Like, some people just don't have a dad, and that's the age appropriate answer. And we talk a lot about like, how does that feel in your body? Like, if you're feeling really sad or like something happened, like her sister did something, and how does that feel in your body? And she's like, "I feel it in my feet and I'm angry." Like that type of like, where do you feel it? How does it feel for your, like, we focus a lot on like, how does that feel for your body? I don't know. I feel like there's like, your brain is one thing, but like I think there's I communicate with 2 different beings in this body that I'm existing in. So I don't know, I'm kind of, maybe that's not right. Maybe my kids will think something different about that one day. Maybe they'll think I'm kooky when I get to be an age. They talked about our body and our brain as 2 different things. But like, we just are like, "Oh, sometimes that just is like, that's how it is." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, that's just how it is." Like sometimes.
beauty of childhood.
Yes. And and we could have perhaps gone into like, some people don't have dads because of, so like, she was just like, some people just don't have them. And she was like very nonchalant about it. Like very cool. Like so protected
Hannah,
her friend.
So Hannah, she's your daughter.
Yeah.
That's the
I
way
almost
it is
cried
sometimes.
when my husband told me that story, because I was like, she was just like, so like, "Oh, it's okay, like no big deal." And then her friend from school was like, "Okay, it's no big deal, like that's fine." So I almost cried. It was really a sweet moment. It was like a good reflection, because I feel like perhaps growing up, like if I had asked my parents, or like I had overheard them, they'd be like, someone's like just kind of gossiping in a mean way, perhaps. And I don't do that. We don't talk about people's body sizes or like their dynamic or whatever. We just don't, because it's irrelevant. And all you have to do is be nice.
That's it. It's so easy to be kind. I love that meme that says, out of all the things you can be in the world, just be kind. It's easy.
Be nice.
Until you're pissed off about something. See, I can't help but when and I think this is what makes a good person. Of course, I'm talking about myself. But if you're able to catch yourself when you start feeling that self-righteous, "Wow, I've really got this handled," and then your brain tells you, "No, remember just yesterday." So do you listen to podcasts? I'm curious.
I do. I listen to astrology podcasts. That's my jam lately. And I also, when I was traveling internationally for work, oh my gosh, I was coming home. I was in the Philippines. And so we were coming back, and like all of the systems, like the airline systems, had like gone down, and we were like struggling to get out of Asia. I missed all my flights in America, and I had sat down in Los Angeles trying to get to New Orleans because I live in South Louisiana now. They canceled that flight, but I'm sitting next to this man, and we get to talking, and I hear he's got a brogue, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I love a good Irish. And he saw my clatter ring, so he starts talking, and we start talking, and he has a podcast, and it's I don't know where this like tell me a story. Tell me, like, I kind of, like I said, what made you cry? Like, what's going on? How are you? Like, tell me everything. And he has a whole podcast where he like does this. I'll have to get the name of it and I can send it to you. Maybe you could put it in the comments or something if people are interested. But his name is Gaff. And I could listen, not only is the brogue entrancing, like I'm locked in, but he's also like getting people's stories. And he hosts events in cities all around the world where people, it's like an open mic and you come and talk. Like, just tell me your story. And I'm like, oh, I love it. Everything. I don't know where I was going with this, but I do listen to his podcast. We can be positive and negative, but we're not going to be mean.
And I had one interviewee that he said, you know, the reason they don't have a show about child protection is because it ain't sexy. Social work ain't sexy.
It's
and I
not.
love it. I put it in a TikTok. This one is going to be, this is funny. If you want to laugh today, if you really want to just feel good about trying to be a nicer person and you just want to laugh, listen to Hannah and I'll clean it up a little bit, but I think that's the intro is that just, I said the other day about my friend, two old hippie gals talking. This might be the old hippie meets the young hippie, the next generation of hippie.
The next generation. Yeah. I mean, we have chickens and ducks and stuff in our yard. So we, you know, and I had home births for my daughters, and not having a social security number for a couple days for them was like my form of like, fuck the government. I'll get them a social security number when I'm good and ready. Okay. And I'm going to have birth at home with our chickens in the yard, and we're going to do that our way. And that's my version of like, all right, fuck that. I'm going to do it the way I want.
I feel like I remember, did you post some stuff about that? Because I feel like you were in a baby pool.
Yes, I gave birth in a water pool both times.
That is and your husband was right there, am I right?
He was right there.
I felt like that.
Yes, wow. He was right there. So he's always joked, he's like, we would be at the hospital with an epidural if I was giving birth, but I support this.
I never had the honor of getting an epidural. I was pre-epidural phase, but I had 4 kids. So talk to me. What was that like? Were you able to maintain your zen while you did that?
No, absolutely not. So like with my second baby too, there was a moment where like she was crowning. So she's coming out, and I was like screaming, like guttural, like gorilla screaming. And I liked it. I like needed it to happen more. Like it was like a rage, anger, like release that I was able to finally like get out. And all the providers like, Hannah, like breathe down. Cause and as a doula, you know, too, it's like, you have to focus your energy down. But I was like letting it out, not focusing down. But I needed that like screaming. It was like an anger, and I was like able to release, and I felt better. Obviously she came out shortly after, and I felt better then too, but like this. And I told my husband, I was like, if we ever have another one, do not let those people in the room tell me to be quiet. Like I need to do that. Next time. Like let it more.
Yes. When you were doing the doula thing, were you aware enough then, if it was before you had children, to let the women?
I think I was there for the birthing parent. So mom, person, like whoever that was there that was giving birth, I was there for them. Like everybody's always worried about the baby and all that, you know, which is important. The baby's important. They're a brand new person you have to learn something about, right?
Yes.
But the birthing parent was like who I was focused on. So like, you know, we're talking about like, who are you helping when you're looking around? Like I am locked into you. Whatever your partner's doing, fine. Like whatever I'm making eye contact with you. I'm holding your hand. I'm like, whatever you need, I will be doing. And so I remember I had an idea, like obviously when people give birth, there's all kinds of noises. And like some of it is heartbreaking, and some of it is like, oh my gosh. And I just was there to witness that. So I had an idea that like there was probably something that needed to come out. And maybe I had told people like, oh, try to focus that down. If I went to another one now, I would probably be a much better. And I don't think I was bad before. I just didn't know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I think I would just let people do whatever they needed to. And having a conversation, prepare people. You might have this. And I feel like that's kind of like a pregnancy thing. You know, like people, it's all like, oh, this is normal. But it's like, this is new to me. I don't know what to do with this. I can Google the shit out of this, but I could be more nervous after.
Yeah. Oh, it's just such a beautiful event that just takes everything you have.
Yes.
That's what I felt like. I had the twins first and then two kids after that, singles. And so just that process of bringing someone else into the world, it's so emotional and physical. It goes back to you've got your brain, but there's this body
Yes.
that's hanging in there and doing all the stuff. And just what a beautiful thing, but what a scary thing.
It is scary because it can go wrong. And then you know, it's brand new to people. And so like, you know, if something had gone wrong now, I kind of have an idea of how this all goes and how I do after. So I would feel a little bit more prepared, but like first time parents, like that's a whole, you know, if you got a sick baby, something happens, you have to have a C-section, like that's all a whole thing. And it's like a lot. And so I was just locked in, whoever was giving birth, let's make sure, you know, I'm here for you. I'm holding your hand. We can talk through it. And then I would also like, I usually had a relationship like leading up to it. I didn't just show up at the birth. We would have meetings beforehand and get to know each other, like get a little bit comfortable. Cause like also you are naked, spread eagle in a space with like a potential stranger. And yes. I don't, there's no TMI doesn't exist for me. So we can talk through all that stuff. Send me pictures of whatever you want. I don't just whatever, like, let me witness you how you want to. And some people were a little bit more conservative about it. Some people were like, yes, finally, like here's a person I can like pour all this into that will receive it. So that was
your husband scared with you?
No, he was on board. He like trusts me fully. So it's also so interesting. I mean, like we all were born, right? We all have a birth story and we are so unfamiliar with it as a society. Like people get freaked out and like we aren't familiar with it, you know?
This is a good story. My mom always told me my birth story because she tried to have me aborted. She was 38 when she got pregnant with me. She tried 3 times to have me aborted. So she loved telling the story about how she didn't. And so she brought me here, but I was born double breech at home. August 28th, 1950. She said she was a great storyteller. She always loved to tell the story that it was like, I don't know, 110 or something, no AC. And my butt came out first. And she'd always end her story with, you were born telling the whole world to kiss your ass. That's just who you've always been, Linda Sue.
Hey, you know what? There's something to it. Like even how you're conceived, I feel like there's a story to it. Like that energy carries through in your body. I'm convinced. It's a little woo, but you can't convince me otherwise.
I think it's interesting. Yeah. How do you know though? Because I'd have to edit this. My husband and I tried for 6 years to have a baby. So we did it every way, almost me standing on my head, trying to make this thing happen. And do you think that you can know when a baby is conceived?
I feel like both times I have two. I feel like both times my husband and I were like, that was it.
Wow.
I'm also a very woo person. So like, I feel like I've kind of gotten him on my woo wagon. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like, what is that word that they're like the Republicans talk about, like kids with trans, like you are not gaslighting, grooming. I maybe perhaps groomed my husband into the woo.
I want to be woo. I'm too
You
critical.
are.
No, I'm pretty critical. I have trouble going woo. I want to. I want to so bad, especially with the death of my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, after she died, all of our family were looking for signs.
Yeah.
And her twin especially would get signs. All of us, I feel like at some point thought we did.
Yeah.
And oh, I wanted that. God damn, I wanted that so badly. So, and in lots of circumstances I can think of, I want to believe that there's some magical, mysterious, and then I think we're just all a bunch of fucking pigs.
I am a recovering Catholic, so I vibe. Like when you're sitting in a class, you can take something from it. Like I took your story, like that stayed with me. That resonated with me. Religion works for some people, and that I'm not gonna knock anybody down for that, but that's not my thing.
Yeah, I kind of want to knock them down. I want to tell the world, Hannah.
Yeah, be a good person. And when somebody looks like they need help, you gotta help. You gotta witness them. You gotta show up and like be fully locked in, being like, how can I like at the list? Start just look around. Do you need to go to the bathroom? Like, have you had some water lately? Like basic, like think of like the pyramid of importance, like physical, I can't remember. There's a pyramid that exists.
I have a doctorate. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, that, yes. Just start going up that and see. Like somebody that's
if you don't have food.
If you need to go to the bathroom, usually after you pee, you feel better.
That's the name of this episode. If you go pee, you will feel better afterwards.
Yes, if you are in a crisis, if you are experiencing a crisis and your basic body needs are not met, it makes it worse. If you are giving birth and you need to pee, you got to let that out to progress because your bladder will get in the way, or you're just going to pee over everybody.
Yeah, that's profound, Hannah. What a way to take it out.
Damn.
I'm we're joking about it, but it is that very basic human functions. When I think about the people that are in war right now, where they're we're bombing people. They're just people just like us.
They are just people.
And my God, you still have to go to the bathroom. You still have to eat.
Yes.
You still have to breathe and think and try to take care of your children.
Yes.
I can't take it. That's one of those things that I have to just shut it off, because when I think of that kind of that it's coming from this country.
Yes, it's terrible.
What in the what?
Yes. So then, you go up your hierarchy. Is my community okay? Are my neighbors okay? Do my neighbors need food? Do my neighbors need to go to the bathroom? Can they use my toilet? Like that type of stuff. And be willing to put the work in so that your neighbors feel safe too.
Does that make you feel better though about what's going on across the world? That doesn't help.
It helps. It does. Because I will become I have two little girls and they just bombed a school. And if I absorb that too much, it impacts me as a mom. Like I can get the Spark Notes version of it. I don't need to look at the pictures.
Good point.
I don't need to look at the interviews. I need to just see what's happening. And then I also have to go back to my kids and be an empathetic, patient mom. And I do an okay job at that. I do lose my shit sometimes. Mm-hmm. But my kids don't know that's happening, and they don't need to know that's happening. It's going to impact me if I know it's happening. I let it do it maybe after they go to bed. And then I still show up and do the momming when it's needed.
Yeah.
But it helps me. It does. It makes me feel better. And like, I know it's happening, but I also can't like keep looking at it,
God, I know. That scares me though, because if when we don't look at it, but we don't have the power to change it, it's just
so then I just focus on my community.
That is right. Your own community. And that's where woo can be very helpful.
Yes.
That the world is, what is it? The butterfly's wings and Japan. Yes. We can't take care of all of it. I'm a very controlling person, and so I think next time you come on, we should solve that problem of how to fix the world.
I mean, here's a Spark Notes version of it. I've kind of worked my way up in the corporate world. That exists. and that's fine. And I mask a certain way to, show my image. I make a paycheck. I whatever. But like, this is helpful too in social work, like understanding basic social programs. So for example, like when somebody on your team that you've been supporting, I'm not a people manager. I'm a people supporter. If I am your manager, I want to know what's happening so I can help you. So like if we're going to give you a promotion, and I know you are on, if you have like childcare assistance, and then when I'm telling it to the person, just so you know, if you are promoted and we're going to give you a pay bump here, is your childcare assistance going to go away? Is that making too much money? And if so, what is your plan for that? Because there is an example of somebody that I was working with that this happened to, and then they lose their childcare assistance. And so then what happens? You got your promotion, yes, but now you have to pay for so like somebody who knows how that works, I'm going to tell you that's how that works. Or, if you have somebody that's fleeing a domestic violence situation, have you called the hotline? Have they offered you a hotel? Like that type of stuff. Have like basic understanding of how these programs work, the phone numbers, like what to expect from it, just so that you can be helpful when somebody is in crisis and you have an understanding of how these programs work, so you can kind of guide them to it,
Yes, I know. And we need more people. I fear that you're the exception rather than the rule.
Well, I'll just come back on here and keep talking about it till we get to everybody.
I think that's a wonderful idea. What a fun morning you have given me, Hannah.